Hey guys, VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So it's been a while since I made a video, but here's one. We've been meaning to do this for a while. It's closet doors for the entryway. I finally figured out what we're gonna do, and we're doing barn door bifold doors. So we have the frames already up, and right now we're Angie and I are just cutting the wood for the doors. They're basically a foot wide each, so it's basically a 4-foot bifold door. And the hardware is pretty neat. It's pretty heavy duty, and I'm gonna build the doors obviously from MDF. And basically I'm sketching out everything to the right dimensions and then gluing the 2-inch wide trim on the surround of each door. It's very much like a shaker style. So I'm going to install the trim on the doors using 3/4 inch brad nails and a little bit of Titebond glue, two, and go from there. Fairly straightforward process. I used some clamps. Very quickly hold the stuff, and then I snap in a couple of brads on each trim piece, and just rinse and repeat. 4 doors, not big deal. As you'll see, it goes together pretty quickly. Basically, I just spread the glue out with some spare piece of wood, small little, instead of using a popsicle stick or something. Something I had here. I'm just brad nailing it and using those clamps as a temporary hold. Once I snap the brads in there, I remove the clamps and keep going. So that's just 4 doors, not a big deal. It went fairly quickly, and then I just let them sit for overnight, let them get all set, and then the next day I actually come by, sand them down, and then continue. So once I trimmed out the doors, I did the bottom pieces. They're just small little pieces left over from the prior cuts. And the door turned out to be basically roughly 4 feet by 81.5 inches tall. So kind of a typical door size. I don't like huge gaps on the bottom of doors, so I made it a little bit closer to the ground. Plus the bifold instructions, they want you all to be 33/8 of an inch above the ground anyway. So the next day I sanded all the pieces. You can see the wood filler on where the nails were, little blotchy things. And then I used my belt sander to do the edges, just to make everything nice and smooth on the sides where the wood's glued together. You can see some of the glue gap right there. Not the gap, but the actual spillage over. So I'm trying to make it all nice and smooth. And then of course the paint's gonna fill in any tiny little voids. I'll be using, you'll see that in a second, but I'm using primer and paint together, so it goes fairly nicely. Here I'm doing taking off the sharpness of the corners, just not have a sharp edge anywhere, and a fairly quick job here. So after sanding and stuff, I just blow the dust off and everything, get ready to clean it up a little bit, and then check for any imperfections, etc. And I'm going to start getting ready for paint. The first coat is always sucked in pretty good with the MDF, seems to soak it up real nice. And of course I do a light sand between coats as well. But here I go, I'm just doing the edges are open, what I call open pore, so they kind of soak in more of the paint. But once the first coat goes in and sand in between, the next layer just stays nice, makes nice film, soft, and no fur on it. Yeah, That's what I call little imperfections anyway. But it's once you sand it, it's nice and smooth. I am using a foam brush, a roller, sorry. I'm actually fond of the rollers with this kind of paint. It doesn't leave streaks and hairy looking application. But anyway, here's me sanding really quick. So just a quick sand. You see I have a sweater this day. So between days it got significantly colder here in Texas. So it's a little bit chilly. I already also have the door in the garage halfway down and one door closed. So anyway, it says water-based paint, no fumes, etc. But anyway, it's still pretty chilly, and it's going to be cold this weekend when I hopefully finish the doors. We'll see how it goes. But we're expecting that killer cold front to come in. It's going to be in the 20s or maybe even lower than that. So this is basically 3 quick coats. I did them all on the same day on the front face, just because it dried nicely. Probably left about an hour and a half between coats, and it was sufficient enough for sanding it down a little bit, making it nice and smooth, and carrying on. So anyway, just finished it up, and then I wait for the next day to do the hardware, so that's coming up in a little bit. So yeah, hardware install. This is Saturday. Basically fairly easy setup. This took me a couple hours, believe it or not. There's a lot of little pieces. I took my time, pre-drill everything, of course. Measure everything up. I put one screw in each hinge first just to lock it down, and then I drill the other holes. Here I'm going to open the door, make front face out, and I put the hangers for the rollers. It looks pretty substantial kit. It's got everything metal. The rollers are plastic, but everything else is kind of like heavy duty steel. Kind of easy setup, very easy to put together, and strong enough for, I think, a little bit of abuse. So should withstand opening and closing for a million times. Who knows? But anyway, you see me, they actually provided, which I was really happy about this, 2 different lengths of screws for different thicknesses of door. I saw that last second. Initially they had the nut on the longest one. I went to the shorter one, and it was perfect. So worked out pretty well. So here I'm doing the second set of doors. I already had them flipped over this way, so I decided to put the roller hardware on first. Just rinse and repeat of the prior. Once that was done, I flipped them over and then put the hinges on, made sure that everything was level, and off I went. I made sure that the gap's fairly tight. I didn't leave anything between them really, because the hinge opens, the bifold doors, the way they open, you don't have to have pretty much any extra room in there. Don't know what the standard process here, but 10 inches for the bottom hinges and top hinges, and in the middle, it's right in the middle. So just screw everything together, and off I went. So you can see how fast it goes. This part was easy. Putting them on the hanger was going to be fun, because I was trying to figure out how to slide there's going to be a pin. Here I'm making the pinhole for the pivot, and I use a mortise bit for that, and everything went fairly easily. To put it on I had to figure out where to put the pivot first. Measured everything up, and then I had to drill into the concrete, so you'll see me do that next. So here I'm going to install the bottom plate, so I have to drill 4 holes. Here I'm going to vacuum that up so I can see what I'm doing, and then do 2 more holes, basically 4 screws, plastic insert with kind of like wood screws, but everything's nice and tight. 1 hole moved over a tiny bit, not a big deal. It's plastic, so it went in just fine. And then I don't show you this, but I put the door on, the pivot, moved everything around. There I'm adjusting the middle rollers. They actually have a little cam, so you can position the height of the door so they're nice and flat in the middle. And then I do the other door pivot. So you don't want to do these independently because you want them nice and tight together. The same process. It went pretty easy. I didn't hit any rebar or anything like that, so the drill bit went in just fine. Again, the hammer drill makes this cake. Very easy to drill the holes if you have the right bit. And off I went. You see me hammering the plastic insert, screw that in. Then I throw the door on there, and then the fun part that I had to do is they have these tiny little Allen little blocks. The top pivot point locks down, and boy oh boy, it's frustrating. It's a tiny little Allen wrench, no access, and you have to tighten these 2 screws on the back end. So that took a little while. It's like half a turn at a time, Here you see me playing with it for a little bit. My big fat fingers don't work in those kind of areas too well, and I don't know why they use the smallest possible Allen screws back there. But anyway, it all worked out, and they work pretty nice. They're very smooth. The hardware is pretty substantial, so the doors feel pretty solid. Plus, here's a real-time walkthrough, and then in a second you'll see me. I put it super wide on the GoPro. You'll see a wider view of the doors. But anyway, that ends the closet door building. Barn door bifold doors. Who knew? Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next video. And if you want, subscribe, and we'll hit you up with another video. Bye.